There comes a point when numbers get so big, they really mean very little to us, beyond simply being a big number. What does a billion look like? How much does it weigh? What is its volume? How many bags of sugar is that? Politicians like to roll off numbers and statistics to us all the time. But just because they know a lot of them does not mean that they are always automatically correct. Let's talk about the Scarecrow's opposite, the Tin Man. All head, no heart. And while we're making introductions, meet Mr. Mark Carney, a Canadian who's Governor of the Bank of England, a bank that, despite its name, is the central bank of the whole of the United Kingdom. Carney visited Edinburgh earlier this year to discuss the possibilities of a currency union. That is, for Scotland to continue using the pound sterling post-independence. But it's what the media had to say about his speech that we'll be looking at. We live in the era of Amazon recommended reads. And by that I mean, you can choose your friends, you can choose what you read, you can even choose where you get your facts from. When we look for information, we tend to confirm our own bias instead of looking for the opposite. When the internet is so vast, it is far easier to cherry pick the information we want and ignore the rest. So, taking Carney's speech as an example, if you're inclined towards independence, you might prefer to hear this part of the speech.
Sharing a currency can also help increase the mobility of labor and capital, raise the trade in goods and services, and improve the flow of technology and ideas.
But if you were pro-union, you'd hear this.
Being in a currency union can amplify fiscal stress and increase both the risks and consequences of financial instability.
And depending on where you looked, that's what you got. The same story interpreted or paraphrased in completely different ways. Pro-independence website Business for Scotland ran the headline, "Mark Carney visit adds good week for Yes Scotland." Newsnet Scotland said that Carney had gone to great lengths in his speech to explain the ground rules for a successful currency union. And in the blue corner, pro-unionist paper The Herald claimed, sharing sterling between an independent Scotland and the rest of the UK could lead to a Eurozone-style crisis. Backed by The Guardian's headline, Mark Carney raises doubts over Scotland's plan to share the pound. Now, there is nothing wrong with interpreting something in a different way from someone else. Just as it's not wrong to call a tomato a tomato. But sometimes, information can get so twisted and contrived that it only vaguely resembles its source material. Remember to always read the label before buying. The problem with media bias is that we find it far harder to notice if it's the same as our own bias. When we read something that is not in line with our own ideas or opinions, it doesn't seem to fit. It sticks out as something intuitively wrong. The fundamental problem with the referendum debate is that a lot of what is being talked about cannot be proven or disproven. What will happen if the outcome is yes, or no for that matter? We won't know for certain until it happens, and by then we'll just have to live with it regardless. In the world of politics, there's no such thing as facts. A long time ago, if you told someone the world was round like a ball, they would spit in your face and tell you to stop being so ridiculous. The Earth is, quite evidently, flat. Of course, now we know the opposite is true. But in politics, things are rarely self-evident. If someone has a chance to disagree with something, they probably will. And although facts by themselves can be true, they can always be used in misleading ways.
Can I just finish the point? This is a leaflet that Nigel Farage's party distributed in the recent Eastleigh by-election. You may remember it. It says here that 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians may come to this country. There aren't even 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians living in Romania and Bulgaria. It is simply not